wonderful presentation that Skål Mexico City Club 67 will be presenting with their president, Gustavo Bolio, who has a happy smile face and ready to go. Without that will be a wonderful presentation. Chema, Andres, I see Carmen as well from Mexico City, Rafael, of course, too. Many thanks for all of you to be joining us. And of course, we have wonderful people from other parts of the world. Dennis from Skål Canada. Wolfgang, you never miss any presentation. I'm happy to see that. Robert, wonderful to see you. And of course, our first Vice President, Senior of Skål International, Berchin. Great pleasure to see you. We've seen each other quite a bit this month, haven't we? But not least to say,
that's awesome. I like it.
Wonderful. And of course, being said that, we're on our last 2 days of celebrating Skål around the world. Of course, as you all know, we had the World Skål Day yesterday, which last night Mexico had a celebration, which of course President Enrique Flores took part or took ahead of it and such. And I will leave now the microphone for Enrique to now give you all a wonderful message on behalf of Skål Mexico.
Thank you, Jane. Welcome everybody again, and thank you all our international colleagues for being with us this morning, almost afternoon. And Gustavo, thank you for this wonderful presentation with all your colleagues from Mexico City Skål. And let's enjoy the presentation. Welcome, everybody.
Thank you, Enrique. I'd like to welcome Jim Dywyer as well, the Skål United States President is with us as well. Jim, welcome.
Thank you, Jane.
And of course, there's more and more people joining in. Juan Ignacio Steta, our International Skål Director. Welcome, Juan Ignacio. And of course, now I believe the show will now begin. Chema, Gustavo, it's your turn now to take on.
Thank you, Jane. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you to all our Mexico City colleagues. Welcome all colleagues from the world. Thank you for participating in our presentation. We have prepared for you a beautiful one, and we are ready. Let's start with our first one. I will talk first about Skål International Mexico City 067. We were founded in August 1950. Last year, we celebrated our 70th anniversary, and we are still going on. We are thrilled to belong to Skål International, and every month we celebrate Skål in our club. Actually, we are 78 colleagues from different segments of the tourism industry. We have people from hotels and restaurants, we have cruises, we have airlines, travel agents, DMCs, restaurants, and people from education and different vendors who are part of the tourism industry. I am the actual president, Gustavo Bolio. I was born in Mexico City. Many of our colleagues in our club are born in Mexico City. We are thrilled that in this club, we have many representatives for Skål International. For example, Juan Ignacio Steta, the actual director of Skål International, belongs to our club. He is present in this presentation. Also, Rafael Millán, who is the auditor for Skål International, belongs to this club. Next one. Because we have a long history, we have twinned with different clubs abroad and within Mexico country. We started in Los Angeles in 2009 with Los Angeles, and we celebrated with them in February. I will tell you about our celebrations in our next slides. Then we twinned with Madrid in 2012. We twinned with Panama in 2013. We twinned with Bogota in Colombia in 2014. Then we twinned with Rome in 2015 with Antonio Percario. And then Within our country, we are twinned with Guanajuato 2018, Mérida 2019, and Tasco. And coming soon is Querétaro. Also, we are twinning next week with New Jersey on May 5th, which is a very important day for the USA and for Mexico as we celebrate a national holiday. This twinning, it's important for us. This year, as part of our plan, we organized something that we call Skål Box. So because of the pandemic, we have been meeting on Zoom, and we thought that to celebrate these twinnings, we were going to invite these clubs to meet with us online via Zoom. And we have prepared in every monthly meet for our meeting with the Skål in Mexico City, a box with a menu. And this menu is designed by one of our committees in Skål Mexico City, considering typical food from the country, typical food from the city that Skål Club is allocated. It has been a great surprise because we have met with people online. For example, when we met last month with Colombia, with Panama, all Panama people, all Panama's colleagues got together in a hotel to celebrate with us. They haven't met before for 1 year or more. And our Zoom meeting, our Zoom box was an excuse for them to meet with us. It was a great celebration. And we will continue this month with Colombia, with Bogota, and then we will continue with Rome in June, and we will continue with other clubs within the year. In every box, you will find this letter, and in this letter, we explain the menu, and we explain how it was prepared. So you can collect those menus so you know how we met and how we celebrated with each of these countries. Next. Now, because we are celebrating Mexico City, let me tell you some important facts about our city. Mexico City was founded by our local cultures in 1325. Then, our next milestone is 1521, when the city was refounded by the Spaniards after the conquest. Actually, considering Mexico City and the surroundings of Mexico City, we are 22 million inhabitants. Mostly of them are within 18 to 25 years. We are considered the 9th biggest city in the world. And after that, we are the biggest city in the Americas. So when you think of traveling and coming to Mexico City, you will find a beautiful, a modern, and exciting city to visit with many people to welcome you. So in this presentation, we will have people from Skål International Mexico City participating and explaining our culture, our city, and our food, our meals. Before doing that, let's watch a video about Mexico City. now I will invite Andres Mejia to continue explaining Mexico City to you. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Gustavo. As you can see in the video, it's a city full of culture, full of history, full of gastronomy. It's a very vibrant city. It has a lot of activities, a lot of cultural activities, and a great people. I think that's what makes the heart of the city. We can go to the next, please. It's like I was saying, it's a city full of history. It was the Aztec capital. It was the Great Tenochtitlan. So it's very interesting to see. We can find ruins, pyramid ruins inside our city. We also were the capital of the viceroyalty of the New Spain. So we also have like this very interesting architectural, very Spaniard and very colonial style. Underneath them, most of the pyramids, of the ruins of the pyramids are located. And nowadays it's the capital of our city, of our country, sorry. So it's a very vibrant and very modern city. We can go to the next one, please. The main avenue is Reforma Avenue. The touristic destination and the main destinations in Mexico City are based in this avenue. It's very beautiful, as you can see. Right now, we just finished with the jacaranda flower, which is this purple tree, and then everything goes purple. It's very beautiful. We have different areas here around this avenue, like Polanco neighborhood. We have Pink Zone Avenue, neighborhood. Downtown area, which are the main touristic destinations where you'll find many restaurants. Polanco neighborhood is one of the most high-end destinations in our city. You'll find there a few of the best restaurants, museums, and Rodrigo will be talking about that later on. After that, if we continue through Reforma Avenue, we'll find the Chapultepec Park, which is a it's the lung of Mexico City. It's located right in the middle of Mexico City. It's so big. It's the second biggest in Latin America. It's the second biggest in Latin America. And just so you have an idea how big this park is, it's twice the size of Central Park in New York. It's very big. It's divided in 3 divisions. The first division, it's the more of the cultural area. You'll find there the Chapultepec Zoo, you'll find the Chapultepec Castle, you'll find many museums like the Anthropology Museum, the Rufino Tamayo Museum. And then the second division, it's more of a family and sports area. You'll find a running field, you'll find different amusement parks and museums dedicated for kids where they can interact with science. So it's more of a family destination. And then the third division is more of just a natural reserve. From there, right in the middle of the Chapultepec Park, we'll find the Chapultepec Castle, which is the only the only imperial castle built in America. We actually had a monarchy here in Mexico. It didn't last long. It was just 3 years approximately. It lasted, but this was their castle, and that's the reason this is the only imperial castle built in our continent. And it's also a museum which we can go. It has beautiful views of the forest and of the park, and obviously of Reforma Avenue and of the whole touristic destination of Mexico City. From here, we're the second city with more museums in the world. The first one is London, and the second one is us in Mexico City. And that tells you a little bit of how rich in culture we are. We have museums, modern museums like the one you can see in the first image. That one is located in Polanco neighborhood. It's a very modern museum. The architecture is very modern, but we also have very traditional and very historical museums like the Casa Azul Museum, where Frida Kahlo, a very famous Mexican painter, lived. And I think the most important museum in our country, the Anthropology Museum. If we go to the Casa Azul Museum, which is the house where Frida Kahlo, a very famous Mexican painter, and she has been renowned all over the world because of her art, and I think the most beautiful thing about her is that she dressed very Mexican. She was very proud of her Mexican heritage in her clothes. You can see the paintings, and she didn't live that long. She died pretty young, but she had a very complicated life, and you can see through this museum all that life and how she inspired the paintings that she she did. And obviously the most important museum we have is the Anthropology Museum. I mean, Mexico as a country, we had many different civilizations that lived here. We had the Aztecs and the Mayas, which are the most renowned all over the world. However, we had Zapotecas, Olmecas, Chichimecas, and very different civilizations. The most important figure is the second image that we can see here. And thank you. I can see Chema's helping me with the mouse. It's the Aztec calendar. For the Aztecs, this is, even though it's called a Aztec calendar, it wasn't really a calendar. For the Aztec, it symbolizes the conception of time. It was more of the Aztecs had this belief that there was 4 suns, and the suns were kind of like cosmical eras before their era, and this represented the 4 different suns that were before there was the destruction and the resurrection of a new era, and they were living the 5th sun. So here we can see right in the middle the image of Tonatiuh, which is the son of God, of the sun, represented. You cannot see it really in this image, but if you are able to come to Anthropology Museum, you'll see that his tongue is kind of like a knife that represented the sacrifices that the sun needed, the human sacrifices. The Aztecs did have human sacrifices that needed to feed and to make their culture more prosperous. However, you'll find there in this museum, you'll find many different history of our civilizations, like all over the museum. From here, we have 4 cultural UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Our historical downtown, which is a very beautiful historical downtown. You'll see very interesting colonial buildings. It's very beautiful. We have an avenue that's called Francisco y Madero, which is a walking avenue, and you'll find a lot of movement, street art and everything going on in that street. But from there, we also have the National University, which is considered the most important university in Latin America. This is also a UNESCO World Heritage Site. We have a very curious one, which is Casa Luis Barragán, that for us is a great honor because it's the only building that it's by itself, it's considered in a World Heritage in the Americas. It was built in 1948, and the reason it was considered in 2004 World Heritage was because it was the beginning of the modernism style. It was the architect that was Luis Barragán was the beginner of this modernism. In nowadays, many houses have it, but this was like the beginning, and that's the reason it was named. And then from there we have Xochimilco. Mexico City was built over a lake, and it would, like, if you imagine how it used to be, it's kind of like Venice nowadays, where you have the canals the streets were canals of water, and you had the pyramids right next to it. So we can go to Xochimilco area, which is in the south part of Mexico City, and we can still live this experience, how the Aztecs used to transport themselves in this kind of canoes that we call them trajineras. Originally, they were all decorated with flowers, and it's very interesting. Now today, they're painted. However, you can still feel the energy that the Aztecs used to have at this time. And here we have the floating gardens that they're called chinampas. Here in Mexico, we call them chinampas. There are these floating gardens, which is a cultivating system that the Aztecs and the civilizations around this area created, where they made artificial islands and they cultivated their food inside these artificial islands that were right on top of the water. This is very interesting because because it was surrounded with water. The dirt was always enough wet to keep throughout the whole year always food, and but not too wet that the food would drown. And it's actually something that we should learn to do nowadays because it's a very sustainable method. It doesn't have any negative effect to the world nowadays. So this is a way that we can actually cultivate nowadays, and we would be creating a better world. And if you think about it, this has more than 3,000 years of technology, and it's something that we could apply today. And also in this lake in Xochimilco, we have the ajolotes. which is this beautiful, this very cute animal in the middle. That it's, unfortunately, it's an endangered species. However, this animal has been very forward to technology and to science nowadays, because it has the power of regenerating its body parts. What is interesting, there's many animals that can regenerate different parts of their body. However, the ajolote is the only one that doesn't have a limit. You can basically, I mean, I don't recommend doing this, but for any reason it would lose any part of its body, it would regenerate to the exact way it used to be. So many scientists have been using the ajolote to study its power, and how maybe in the future, we don't know, this animal could help us to regenerate parts of our own body. And obviously the flowers. I mean, Aztecs and Mexicans in general, we love flowers. And like I was telling you, the trajineras, the boats were completely covered with flowers. So this is an area where we can go nowadays still and buy flowers and see all the colorful, that we Mexicans love color. Then from here, we have the Guadalupe Shrine, which is the second most visited temple, religious temple in the world. It's the house of the Guadalupe Virgin. And she's very miraculous virgin. She actually appeared in this area. It's the second most visited in the world, right after the Vatican in Rome, where many people come from all over, especially Latin America, but from all over the world. And what's beautiful is that many of them come just to say hello to her, to be with her. Her day is December 12th. On December 12th is the day when it's her day. And we have approximately 5 million visitors just on that day, just to be with her. So it's a very interesting, a very beautiful experience to live it there and be surrounded by so much faith and so much positive energy. And then from very close to Guadalupe Shrine, if you can help me, Chairman. Oh no, before that, we have the Day of the Death, where I'm sure you've heard of Day of the Death here in Mexico. It's one of the most important celebrations that we live in our country. I think as Mexicans, we're very proud of this celebration. And the reason that we're proud of it is because it's a way of remembering the people that are not with us anymore. It's a way of not letting their memory go away. It's a way of celebrating their life. I always say, even though it's called Day of the Death, it's a day full of life. This takes it's on November 2nd. And if you come to Mexico City on Day of the Death, it's an amazing experience, because you'll have a parade, the Day of the Death parade, that takes every Saturday before the 2nd of November. Well, you see the Skåls and the Catrinas. The Catrinas is the representation of death, which is very glamorous and very elegant, but very colorful. We Mexicans love color, and here in Mexico City, it's not an exception. And if we go through Paseo of the Reforma Avenue, you'll find a big collection of different Skåls that are hand painted, some of them, and very artistic representation of this experience. Day of the Dead is a tradition that comes before the Spaniards came to Mexico. It's a tradition, has more than 3,000 years of tradition. And one of the experiences that we also can live here is to go to a cemetery. And I know it sounds weird to say, let's go to a cemetery to live this experience, but to go to a cemetery is to be with the families, and you can see people happy, because that's the day they feel the people are not, that left them, are with them, and you see people having fun, enjoying their time with their family. Some people take the mariachis so that they can sing some music to them, and it's a very, very, very beautiful experience to live Day of the Death here in Mexico City. Then from here, not too far from Mexico City, 45 minutes away, we have the Teotihuacan pyramids, which are, I mean, this used to be the most important city in the first century of the world, of this continent, because we actually had a volcanic stone that was very, very, very good, because it was perfect to cut through skin. It wasn't that fragile. It wasn't too strong, but it wasn't that fragile. But that made the demand, and people from different civilizations would come to this city to buy this stone. And nowadays we can actually have an experience that's to fly right on top of the pyramids on a hot air balloon. This is an amazing experience as well. And then I'm talking about, that's a little bit of the history that we have in Mexico, but we also have a lot of sports. Sports is something that's very interesting in Mexico. We have the Formula One Grand Prix. We actually have won 5 years in a row as the best Formula One in the world because of the organization. I also think it's because of the Mexican atmosphere that we are very vibrant and very happy and very party going. So I think that's also one of the reasons. We have the Aztec Stadium, which is the biggest stadium in Latin America. It has a capacity up to 87,000 people. We have the Auditorio Nacional, the National Auditorium, which is also very, very important for us. It has a capacity for 10,000 people. The acoustics here are amazing. Like if you ever get to live a concert here, you'll feel the music through your bones and through your skin. It's amazing. And we also have the Lucha Libre, which is a kind of like a wrestling. And in 2018, actually, it was named World Heritage as well. And even though it's a sport, it's very colorful because they wear their masks and it's very dynamic. Many of the punches they hit, they're really fake, to be honest. But it's part of the show because it's more of an acrobatic show. So this is a little bit of what we can offer you here in Mexico City. It's an amazing city. It's full of culture. It's full of traditions. Obviously, amazing people. And we welcome you with arms wide open.
Andrés, thank you very much.
Mi nombre es Marcos y soy de España.
¿De Colombia?
Soy de Uruguay.
Soy brasileña.
Sus ciudades son maravillosas, su gente, sus tradiciones.
Eu adoro as praias, adoro a paisagem, as pessoas.
Me encanta toda su diversidad cultural.
La calidez de la gente. La gastronomía.
La comida.
Su comida.
Eu adoro a comida daqui. No es mexicano, le hace falta todo lo mexicano.
Mexicano.
Esto es México. Esta combinación de sabores es única. Esto es un chile en nogada.
Y definitivamente es picante.
Una salsa como agridulce, picosita. Todo definitivamente es México. Riquísimo, impresionante.
Muy fuerte.
¿Qué hice? Has tenido muchas aventuras, pero tu verdadero amor es México.
Aunque seas de otra nación, eres mexicano de corazón.
Tu corazón se llama Colombia, pero tu sonrisa se llama México. Gracias.
To continue, thank you to Andrés. He used to be our young Skål. Now to continue presenting our food will be Rodrigo Aldana. Thank you, Rodrigo.
Thank you, Gustavo, and welcome everyone. I'm very happy to be with you today. And I'm going to share with you a little bit of Mexican food. So I'm sorry if at the end of this presentation, you're kind of hungry, okay? But we're going to talk a lot about food. Okay, so one of the things that it's great about Mexican food, and it's not coincidence, one of the most famous and popular ones around the world, is that it's a gift to the world. It has so many ingredients that are endemic to Mexico City, original from here, that our people have been very creative to use them in such way that it is tasty, it is rich, and it talks a lot about our culture and history. Also, we're very proud because in 2010, the UNESCO named Mexican gastronomy as immaterial world cultural heritage. This is due to its authenticity, the traditions, the ingredients, and of course, the flavors, which makes us very, very proud. There's so many ingredients in Mexico that have been, that are original, and that also many of them have appellation of origin, such as chocolate, as vanilla, as corn, avocado, beans, tequila, mezcal, and many, many more. Definitely, Mexican gastronomy is the best way to embrace Mexico. To get to know more, to learn more about Mexicans and who we are is through our food. And now you might be wondering, what does Mexico City is so special around food? First of all, let me tell you that here is where all the food of Mexico gathers and meets in just one place. Due to the migration of all the people of the rest of the states of Mexico that have come here to Mexico, they have brought with them their history, their culture, but what we like more, it's their gastronomy. So it's like a big thing that you can come to Mexico and try all the food from all around our country. Also, the warmth, the creativity, and the service that you're going to experience here, it's going to be unique. People, when they come to Mexico and they get to know all people in the Mexicans, basically they say that it's unique and that cannot be compared to other places. Diversity is a great thing about Mexican food, and especially in Mexico City, because we have all the food of Mexico, but also many examples of international cuisine. Also, we're very proud to have some of the best restaurants in the world and of the chefs that are here in Mexico City. Just to name a few of them, we can name Marta Ortiz, Elena Reigadas, Jorge Vallejo, Enrique Olvera, Ricardo Muñoz Zurita, and many, many more. So this is what makes it very rich, tasty, and a lot of history. Also, the endemic ingredients of Mexico City, as just a few moments ago, Andres mentioned, the chinampas, this ancient traditional way of farming that brings many of the ingredients in which we can call, for example, the quintoniles, the huitlacoche, some kinds of chiles, and many other ingredients. So as you can see, Mexico City is just a lot more than just, I don't know, like history and culture. It's all about food. Let me tell you, there's a lot of them. Your belly is going to be very happy at the end of your trip. For instance, in one day, you can start by eating breakfast at one of the many stalls that offer tamales, or maybe grab some coffee with one of the traditional bakeries that we have. That, let me tell you, sweet bread in Mexico is unique, it's traditional. Maybe a concha, a corbata, novia, or something else. It's gonna be very, very good, and the perfect thing for the people that have a sweet tooth. Then you can continue and find out some of the taquerias that we have in Mexico. There's 1,000 of them where you can eat tacos al pastor, which is the iconic dish of Mexico City. And by the way, in 2019, Taste Atlas named it as the best dish in the world. Pizza was a runner-up, and well, tacos al pastor is something definitely you cannot miss. Of course, dinner can happen at one of the high-end restaurants in Polanco, where you can have this contemporary food that is going to be great, or maybe you can go to Colonia Condesa, Colonia Roma, where as well, chefs are going to surprise you with their creativity and their flavors. Of course, we have some farm-to-table experiences where you can go out to Milpalta or Xochimilco and learn a little bit of the ancient way of farming, learn about the local produce, and why not maybe prepare something of these dishes that are traditional with the cooks over there, the traditional cooks that they have wide knowledge about Mexican gastronomy. Of course, we have some walking tours. You can go to markets, which markets are a very important part of our gastronomy. We have San Juan Market, that is the most famous market in Mexico City. It's also a gourmet and exotic market. You can visit La Merced, which is a very big market, and you cannot miss going to La Viga, which is the seafood and fish market of Mexico City, that it's just right next to Central de Abastos, which is one of the biggest markets that we have in the world, okay? Also, there's some cooking classes where maybe you can learn to make handmade tortillas from scratch, or why not make a spicy salsa, prepare a mole, or I don't know, there's a lot of dishes that the chefs and cooks can teach you, and you're going to enjoy, and your palate is going to be just very happy with all the food that you can prepare. So coming to Mexico City is going to bring you a memorable trip, an unforgettable trip that it's going to be really, really great, because you're going to engage and meet with all the people that are behind the food, not just the chefs, but all the people that participate in the gastronomy, in cooking. So they're going to share with you their backstories, their creativity, their inspirations, and you're going to get some bonding that you're never going to forget. Of course, eating your way through the city and get the taste of it, it's the best way to do it through food. I invite you to walk, to explore, and taste as many food as you can. Food for us is identity. It is very related to who we are, to our families, to our friends. So being at a Mexican table and sharing all this food is going to be something that you are going to keep in your mind forever. So please come to Mexico and let us conquer your heart through our flavors. And now I want you to show you the next video, in which one of the chefs of Mexico is going to show us how to prepare different dishes with one of the main ingredients of Mexico, that is chile. 3 different ways, and please enjoy. Not all Mexican food is spicy, but it's a great part of our gastronomy. Thank you very much.
Mi ciudad es Chinampa en un lago escondido. Es ensontle que busca en donde hacer nido. Reilete que engaña la vista al girar. Baila al son del tequila y de su valentía. Es jinete que arriesga la vida en un lienzo de fiesta y color. Mi ciudad es la cuna de un niño dormido. Es un bosque de espejos que cuida un castillo. Monumentos de gloria que velan su andar. Es un sol con penacho y zarape veteado que en las noches se viste de charro y se pone a cantarle al amor. Por las tardes con la lluvia se va su piel morena y al desatarse las trenzas, sus ojos tristes se cierran. Mi ciudad es Chinampa en un lago escondido. Es ensontle que busca en donde hacer nido. Reilete que engaña la vista al girar. Baila el son del tequila y de su valentía. Es jinete que arriesga la vida en un lienzo de fiesta y color. Es un sol con penacho y zarape veteado que en las noches se viste de charro y se pone a cantarle al amor. Baila el sol del tequila y de su valentía, es jinete que arriesga la vida en un lienzo de fiesta y color. Es un sol con penacho y zarape veteado que en las noches se viste de charro y se pone a cantarle el amor.
Wow, I'm thrilled and moved with this ending to our presentation. Finally, we invite you to raise your glass and toast with us. To all Skåliks of the world.
To all Skåliks
of the world.
Happiness.
Happiness.
Good health.
Good health.
Friendship.
Friendship.
Long life. Thank you everybody for participating. If you have any questions, any comments, please do so. We are very happy to be with you today.
President Gustavo, again, thank you very much. This was an excellent presentation. It makes you want to just, fly to Mexico and Mexico City. I was in Mexico back in November, and my daughter, we were there with my daughter. She's already asking back, so we're going to be there soon. Well, thank you very much. Congratulations to you, to your club, and thank you for being part of Skål Month celebrations.
Thank you, Burchin. Thank you very much. You are very welcome.
Look forward to our twinning next week.
Yes,
thank you, Robert.
See you next week. Our visit.
And a visit later on in the year.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Do we love it? Can't wait.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Jim.
Gustavo and all the team. Really, you've done a great work. Congratulations. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
No llores.
I'm also very moved. I'm also very moved. After this closing.
Don't cry.
What's the problem? You want to cry?
Tears of joy. Tears of joy.
With the music, I was touched.
Yes.
Agarra un Kleenex, Gustavo. Juan, un Kleenex para las lágrimas.
I'm going to.
Well, thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye.
We'll see you soon. Thank you, everyone. Adiós.
Muchas gracias. Saludos.
Muchísimas gracias.
Saludos.
Felicidades.
Bye bye.
See you.